Yeah, I think Bitcoin hits an all-time high in Q2 next year and then drops, but doesn't drop that much by this time next year. So just throw some numbers out there and I have no idea. Let's say it gets to like 170, 160, 170. And then by this time next year, it's back to 135 or something like that.
What's up, everybody? It's LG Doucette here, and welcome to the Milk Road Degen podcast, a show where we talk to the richest nerds on the internet and try to become freaks just like them. Today's guest, Zeneca, a regular on the Milk Road pod, and I've adopted him onto this show, and I'm going to grill him on his strategies for managing kind of a funny chop market like this. We're going to talk about World Liberty Finance. We're going to talk about prediction markets and whether they're here to stay, and also should you be just aping stuff right now, or should you be sitting on the sideline with your money? These are all things we're going to chat about today. I also saw a newsletter from him about his $15 million NFT portfolio that he once had in 2021 and what happened to it. So that's always fun stuff to reminisce on. Zeneca is a super sharp guy, and I'm always happy to have him on the show and chat with him. So we're going to go through all that. And before we get started, I want to remind you to please support the show. YouTube listeners, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment, tell me what you think. And if you're on iTunes or Spotify, listen, that 5-star rating, it means a lot to us. This is only episode 5 of the show, so we could use it. We want to get up in that algo, and every little bit helps. And today's episode is brought to you by Fun Token, powering the next wave of Web3 gaming and decentralized innovation. I need intro music, man. I need like some kind of drum roll when someone comes on. Otherwise, just click a button and you're here, and that doesn't seem right. If you had intro music, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I feel like it would change week to week. Like depending on how the market's doing, you got some hype up music, or you just have some like depression, solemn music. That could be
That's a use of AI that I want. That it's like when you like AI would scan your last week of tweets and newsletters, and it creates music for when you arrive, and we don't know what it's gonna sound like until you're here. That would actually
would be awesome. And it's doable already with the tools out there.
It could be a virtuals token, or maybe creator bid. Whatever. Yeah. Do you have any creator bid? Or are you all virtuals, or did you?
I had some. I think I sold off a while back during consolidation, but during the AI meta and the whole base meta, I definitely got in on that a little bit.
Is that stuff cooked right now, or what's going on?
I think it's largely cooked. Like it's down. Most things are kind of down pretty bad. Virtuals, AI agent, that whole kind of meta it had a moment a month or two ago where it like resurged, but market moved on already.
There was a moment like in August where like guys like Darren X and Nick plays crypto became experts at like spotting these teams that had been building on virtuals since like the Genesis launch, or since January, and they became experts at like spawning those right before they were going to launch their beta or their mainnet or their prototype or whatever.
That's a good opportunity right there.
So there was a lot of like little 10x's on super low caps. And even Backrooms was a good example of that. I don't know if you dabbled there, or you were
I'm aware of it, but I haven't used it myself. Yeah.
This is kind of like a evolution of friend tech kind of thing. But that was a good example where it's like people were spotting that's like, hey, listen, this guy's going to launch this thing in like 2 weeks. People are testing it, and the market cap's $1 million, and it went to like 12 or 13 or something like that. So there were good opportunities. But yeah, I agree. I think base like AI stuff is definitely on the sidelines. But you think AI could like what are your general like AI stuff? Can that come back? Is that gonna have another wave?
100%. Yeah, it'll definitely come back. I mean, AI it's the biggest narrative in the world on a global sense today, and I think that AI in crypto is a match made in heaven. So whether or not like the existing tokens, like is Virtuals going to bounce back? Who really knows? But there will be AI tokens that do phenomenally well. It could be stuff like Tau, the whole BitTensor network, and that's a little more layer one-y and more established, or it could be degen stuff or something brand new. But yeah, AI, I'm probably it's the thing I'm most bullish on in crypto, outside of like maybe the majors.
Do you have a lot of AI bags? I don't remember those parts of the portfolio.
I used to have a lot more during the AI meta, and it was big and heavy on virtuals. Now probably Tau and Banker are my 2 bigger bags. Yeah, but I'm sort of keeping an eye out for it, because I think that we will get that meta again in a real way, and would maybe want to rotate into them at some point.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that. Yeah, Tau is a good one. But I do, I like, do you think, I think it's funny when these metas come along, because then it's like you have to try and pick the projects that are going to come back if you're not currently holding any, and then you can kind of get into the trenches to try and catch like new things that are coming.
It's tough. It's time intensive.
Yeah.
That's why most of my 80% of my portfolio is now in just 5 tokens, and I'm kind of happy just sitting on them. Yeah, like 3 majors and then 2 like PENGU and REKT, the meme / Brandcoin type things, and I'm just happy sitting on that for a while and seeing what happens in the market. And then after that I got, as I said, Tau, Banker, and a few other ones as my sort of potential higher X plays.
This is like a super random theory that I just came up with, and I really don't follow these guys at all. But Mog, and I've never held Mog. I just know that K Money still promotes it. He's a big influencer, and they've kind of created this fun brand. Would you ever see them trying to become like a brand coin? Because I feel like they have like a good like traction where they could start to do maybe not drinks, maybe not plushies in Walmart, but they feel like they have like a thing. Kind of like that gumption of
Definitely.
like you could jump into some kind of physicals or merchandise for that gives like a REKT PENGU kind of thing,
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. I think Mog was the coin I was most bullish on last cycle. The meme coin I was most bullish on last cycle. I know. I remember for like 18 months, if anyone asked me what meme coin I was most bullish on, I would say Mog.
Really?
Because they had that cult community, like you said, that sort of the slightly different brand. It was crypto native, but not schizo autism degen like some of the other meme coins out there. Not like, there's racist stuff and there's all sorts of terrible stuff, but it was just a fun, cool, vibing kind of brand and community. So I thought that, it was great then. I think it's great now. One of the risks, I think, was
why'd you sell? Why'd you sell them? What happened?
I sold, I don't know when I sold, actually, maybe a year ago or a little less, but one of the risks I find with some of the older meme coins, and you certainly see it with like your Doge, Shiba, those kind of things that have been around for a cycle and now we're going into the second or third cycle of them, is that the initial hardcore community that took it to really big heights have made their bag. A lot of those big community members are a little more checked out, tapped out, and it's harder for an existing meme coin to like get that launch momentum and really take off versus newer stuff like REKT and PENGU, which came out in the last year or so. I think just have momentum on their side. But that's not to say Mog can't come back or an older coin can't come back with a vengeance.
It wasn't the thought that the token could come back. I was just thinking, I was like, okay, well, who else joins the brand coin narrative? You know what I mean? Like, to me, there's a lot of space, right? Because you have PENGU, who's done a great job. We had Luke on the show the other day, gave us the vision, and we get it, and you got the Giphy success, you've got Walmart's, you've got Abstract and being built by Cygar and the mobile app and everything like that makes sense. OSF also recently came on the show, gave us the vision for REKT, and like that also makes tons of sense. And I was just thinking, I was like, who else in the space could, because even REKT was a free NFT. He was doing his content. And then at one point was like, I'm going to go full time, make this a real brand, and we're going to roll with it. And that's doing well so far. So I was thinking like, well, who else in the space could do something like that with what they currently have, even if what they currently have are only digital assets, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where
I think Mog's a good option there. There's a couple others.
They could. It's not, they don't have to, but I'm just saying that was one of those things where I was like, well, who is currently available to do that? Let's put it that way. The only other one I thought of was Suzuki, but they seem like they're kind of like in a weird, I don't know. They're
going
like,
down the anime.com route as well. And
but then they're having like fashion brand partnerships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't seem to have the same kind of traction as the other two. I want to talk actually. Well, man, there's a million things I want to talk about. Let's talk current events, and then we can go back into the past and talk about your NFT collection from years ago. Fuck. What's your vibe on the market right now, man? Because today we're recording this is September 2nd for me, the 3rd for you. Yesterday, World Liberty Financial launch. A pretty underwhelming price action for them, right? Lower than the pre-market, like almost 50% lower, not like 40%. All of their beta associated tokens, like I had some block that shit the bed, Dolo, like all the other stuff that was supposed to pump with it is fucking dying. But it wasn't, I will say it wasn't as big a liquidity suck as I thought. I thought that there was a potential of like everything just shatters and this thing goes to 100 billion and it's another Trump, and thankfully that hasn't happened. But now I feel like we're just kind of discussing this in the pre-show. We've got 2 weeks until the FOMC meeting. Powell is going to maybe cut rates, and we're in kind of a bit of a no man's land otherwise.
Yeah. I think that basically sums it up. The no man's land. I think if World Liberty Fi had launched sort of in much more bullish conditions, you might have seen that liquidity suck and that explosiveness, but it was just unfortunate timing. People probably learned from Trump and the whole maybe extractiveness or crime seasoniness or whatever elements that go into stuff like this. And I think people are a little more turned off. So yeah, all of that definitely put together an underwhelming launch there. And I think the whole market is kind of just skittish, waiting. I think for rate cuts, they're basically priced in now. I mean, in terms of like 90+% chance that they're definitely going to happen.
What does that mean though? If they're priced in, so then does that mean
it's priced in that people know that they're going to happen? I think, but it's not the effect of them hasn't yet. I don't think can be priced in because I'm trying to think who tweeted this. It might have been OSF or someone else, but basically, it takes a time for the rate cuts to have an impact, and you can't actually price them in a real way because once they hit, it's only then that people start getting less of a return in their bank saving accounts for interest, for example. And so once a few rate cuts hit, people will start to see, oh, the savings I had, I'm earning less on that than I used to. I need to keep up with inflation. I need to earn more money. Where do I go? All right, I can put it into crypto. I can put it into stocks. I can put it into this, that, or the other. And so once those set in and people start to see that they're earning less, then they have the capital to be like, well, now I want to put it elsewhere. And that's when I think other things start to catch a bid, and it just takes time. And you can't really, that capital doesn't unlock until rate cuts set in. So yeah, I think it's expected, and people know that they're going to happen, but I still don't think it's fully priced in.
Zen, I don't remember a time ever, like in crypto Twitter, where everybody is like a macro expert and has opinions on macro, and it's like most of these people like have not been macro people for a long time. You know what I mean? And obviously if you care about this stuff, like you have to learn about it at this point. And Milk Road is a fantastic destination. Like Jay and everybody else in the macro pod, like it's a great spot to check it out. But I'm saying is that it's like even macro, I only learned what macro stuff was and that how much it matters when everything crashed last time in 2020.
Yeah, I
was like, what the fuck? Like, why is ETH doing this? Like, and then it unraveled for me and I was like, oh, and then I just like understood finally how like the global liquidity cycle just is everything for how these assets are treated, fringe assets. But it's also, I'm like, but I haven't followed it for more than 3 years. I don't know the history of, like, I haven't been doing this for 20 years. But what I'm saying is that I find it so funny that all of crypto Twitter is now aligned with this narrative being the thing that controls everything.
Right? Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I'm the same as you. Like before this, I didn't have a TradFi background. I learned it all in the last few years, or I learned whatever little I know now. But I think it's necessary now because more people are understanding the impact of it all. But also you have the ETFs, you have the digital asset treasury companies, you have, the impact of rate cuts, and it's all this, the macro impacts on everything, and it's more now than it's ever been. Institutions are heavily influenced by it, and everyone's calling this like the institutional cycle. Retail hasn't quite come here the same way, but prices are bordering on all-time highs, and that's because you got the ETFs and you just got money trickling in from retirement accounts or from big funds and stuff like that, it's just different. And so you have to learn about that stuff too.
Does it make it less fun for you?
Oh yeah, it's way less fun. NFTs were the best. Yeah, so it's certainly less fun, but it's less fun in some ways, but it's a little more freeing and liberating, at least for me this time around, because I feel less FOMO in the sense that when NFTs were going on, and to a certain extent when it was like super meme coin meta, every day there was a 100x or a 20x or like multiple 10x's, and you felt really bad if you weren't locked in and glued to your screen. And yeah, you can work really hard and grind now and find a few good returns every day, but it's just not the same. And so it's a much easier way to set up your portfolio in a way that you can be like, I'm gonna take more of a hands-off approach and find fun in other parts of life, like golf, which I've gotten obsessed with lately. And then just focus on the market a little less.
Are you going to buy any Links DAO? Is that still around?
Oh, I hold Links DAO. Yeah.
Oh, actually, you do? Okay.
I've held it. I've had it basically since mint. I might have sold off at one point for some reason, but I've been holding my current ones for, I think, well over a year or two.
How many golf courses do they own now? Didn't they bought one in Scotland?
They did. I think they have two. One they officially bought, and the second one, I don't know if it's gonna they bought the whole thing or they just partnered with them and bought part of it. But yeah, there's a couple now.
Are you going to go to the one in Scotland? You have to go. You have to. You have
One day,
membership.
yeah, I would love to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
there
one
and
day.
play golf. And if I'm over there, 100%.
Let's talk about these NFTs, man. We got to pull up this article because this hit my inbox the other day. I was like, holy shit, man! Like, I enjoyed this, but at the same time, I also felt. I'll be honest with you, I was like, man, Zeneca's bored. Like he did like things are less fun if he's talking about things from 4 years ago and how that's changed. I was like, he needs somebody to sink his teeth into. And I want to talk about that in a second as well. But let's look at this article first. So, in 2021, you traded your way to an NFT portfolio of $15 million, starting from 50K capital. Why did you put in 50K initially?
It was around that amount. So basically, what happened was in 2017 when I first got in, I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a bunch of ETH and then was trading altcoins, and I round trip most of it. And I think I was left with like 10 to 20 ETH, and I just held it all the way through. So like that went down to like when ETH was $80, and then as 2021 rolled around, ETH started going back up again, and that was like my kicking off bankroll. And so I mostly used that for NFTs, and then I might have put in another like 10,000 or 15,000 of like cash savings into it.
Yeah.
And that ended up being, what sort of kickstarted the whole NFT portfolio.
What was the first buy again? What was the first thing you got?
It was this total meme shitty project. It was called Dcash, like literally pixelated dicks. Which, yeah, I think it was sold on a bonding curve or something. I spent 0.2 ETH per. I bought 2 of them. And it was just because the group chat that got me in it was the first time I didn't even know how to find NFTs to mint. And so when I was like, yeah, why not? And then, fortunately, shortly after that, one of my next ones was art blocks, and that sort of got me into that whole.
Oh, right on. Tell me about this art. Tell me about this article, man, because I think you got thoughts on like the current NFT market. Tell me more about what you're.
Basically, I just wanted to write about how I think about NFTs and the overall NFT market. And one thing which you got up on the screen here, the chart, is the total market cap of NFTs is really small. Like depending on how you value it, it's somewhere anywhere between like 5 to 10 billion. This one has it at I think 6.5, which is tiny. Like, World Liberty Fi is 20 something billion that launched yesterday. Doge is 30 billion, Cardano's 30 billion, Sheeb and Pepe, a couple meme coins, are like 4 and 7 billion. So it's like there's tons of singular coins that have market caps higher than the entire NFT market cap. So it doesn't take much capital to move it, is the point. And to me, that's still a sign that it's generally pretty early. But if you look at the top there, it says 35% of it is in CryptoPunks, which is kind of wild, but also not wild when you think about Bitcoin dominance and how much of crypto is in Bitcoin, which is like 60% now.
I mean, that's kind of wild to think about. So it's like the current market cap is what, 6 billion or so, and that 35% of that is CryptoPunk. So if you remove that,
right,
then the total market cap is less than 4, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty astonishing. But I mean, at the same time, I don't see NFTs on the timeline too much, so I'm not surprised.
What's this? The metas.
What's this peak? Is this like Moonbird's other side?
Yep. That would have been April-ish 2022.
Yeah.
Just before the end. Yeah. Look at that steep crash. Yeah.
Fuck, man. That was I should not have held my other side land.
Me either. You're living that.
So much money minting it, man. That gas.
Yeah, it was like 2 ETH in gas.
Fucked. Did you ever sour on Bored Apes? Like, was that like a time? Because I know a lot of people were like,
I tweeted it right after that.
Chain. Yeah. Okay.
I was immediately sour on them after that.
Really? Okay.
I still hold one, and I held a couple for a while after that, but that was when I was like, this is not great.
God, what a wasted opportunity they had. So tell me more. So so this article basically details, and I think if this is behind a paywall, you can stop me.
This is all free. There's a paywall a bit further down where I share my exact holdings, but basically
this anyways.
Yeah, there you go. People
sorry, you want me to stop? Tell me to stop. Tell me to stop. You don't want people to see it.
No, people on the podcast can get a glimpse.
Okay.
Yeah. It's totally fine.
Tell me about your tell me about your top like 3 or 4 holdings and why you have them.
Yeah. So basically, it's CryptoPunks, Art Blocks, and then Terraforms by Math Castles and the memes by 6529. Those make up the bulk of my sort of top 60, 70, 80% of holdings. And I've got below that, I've got like pudgy penguins, Bored Apes in much smaller amounts. But I think that to me, art is the ultimate thesis in my portfolio. And I think that one of the reasons is that it's not dependent on a team sort of doing stuff. It just generally trends up over time as the space matures, as more collectors join the space. A lot of the holders are sort of pretty diamond handed. A lot of this art is already sitting in museums around the world, which gives it longevity. And you don't have to think too much about it. Versus you look at like the Moonbirds or the Pudgy Penguins or the Bored Apes, you kind of want to be following, what's the team doing? Is there a token launching? Do I want to sell before the token? Do I claim my airdrop and then sell? Do I sell before like all that stuff? And you add too many of those collections and it starts becoming overwhelming to manage and you end up making mistakes. So yeah.
Why? What's your like timeline on holding even the art stuff? Like, how do you?
Years and years and years from now. Like a lot of it, I think 5, 10 plus years. Some of it I will sell off if there's like a pump here or there and stuff like that. But a lot of it, I think, is long-term holdings, definitely.
Web3 gaming is booming, and one token is powering the next wave, Fun. With 100K holders worldwide, Fun is already fueling engagement across AI tools, rewards, and 40 plus upcoming games in 2025. Audited by CertiK with an AA Skynet score and listed on Binance, HTX, and Poloniex. Fun is built on trust and adoption. Now, with the launch of Fun 100X Foundation, 10 million is going back to the community, funding DAOs, dApps, and a governance for the future of decentralized gaming. So discover how Fun is shaping Web3 at milkroad.com/fun.
Dude, I admire your conviction, man. I think looking at I will say looking at the NFTs as a market cap to me makes way more sense than looking at them individually. And I've always kind of looked at them as individually and like something that's just like this kind of like zombie reminiscent thing from 2021 that people can't let go of. But looking at it on a market cap actually makes way more sense as just like a separate asset class that will pump at times and kind of move around and provide entries for long-term people like you that want to be part of it. I think my hold up, or maybe here's just a general question for you as well, is that like for people right now, especially, because this show, we want to help people kind of get into more degen stuff. So outside of the top 4 or 5 holdings, right? So we want people to dabble into that stuff, or outside of their top 2 holdings, whatever those are. Where like, if people want to start investing, or NFTs on the list, or if people want to start being more degen, or like how do NFTs fit into like the, kind of left curve of the space at this time?
Yeah. They're in a bit of a weird spot. I think that short-term trading of them is very tough. I think that unless you're good at noticing trends and picking up when something is about to take off, like I think the Moonbirds run up was pretty well telegraphed. At least from my perspective, I didn't buy any or get in on it. I just kind of saw it happening. But like you just see all this momentum. They were following the Pudgy playbook, acquisition, wait a few months, starts pumping, announcements, community reignites, all that kind of stuff. If you can find projects like that, and you can make good money flipping these things in the short to medium term. But if you're looking for like, day to day or even, 1 week holds, it's a little bit tougher. Liquidity isn't as good. It's a little more clunky versus sort of your fungible tokens, your AI coin meta, or this, that, or the other. So I think that I don't generally recommend it for people looking to increase the degen level of their activity. But I think there are a lot of opportunities, especially if you look at older collections that have very low floor prices, like 0.01 to 0.05 or 0.1 ETH. Things that have been around for years, still have a community, still pump. Like those things you can just buy bags of, hold, or just already list and wait 3 to 6 months. And there'll usually be an announcement where they pump and then you can get some liquidity. But it's all opportunity cost as well at the end of the day. Like, are you better off doing that, or are you better off saving your capital and waiting for the next, is it AI meta or is it this, that, or the other?
Any collections on that you can think of that are like a low cost?
I don't know about any particular collection, but I'll just say look at the projects that minted out in 2021 or early 2022, and then look at the ones that the team is still around, hardworking, or they got acquired by a new team that's hardworking. The community is still active. They've got a good social media, Twitter presence. Ideally, they found a way to revenue, so they're a sustainable business, and they've been around for a while. Actually, I will say one. Chimpers is a really good example. They have, following the Pudgy Penguin playbook, I think they just passed $1 billion views or a million followers on TikTok or Instagram, one of those two. So they're getting a lot of virality. The IP is good. They've been around for years. The community is strong. They're doing a lot of things right. And, they're sub 1 ETH. They were sub 0.4 ETH or 0.3 ETH for a long time. And they've slowly been ticking up. So those are the kinds of collections that you want to keep an eye on. Sappy Seals. All right, I said I wasn't going to name them. Now I am. But that's another one. They've been around for years. They're doing stuff. They've got a cultish community. So look for projects like that. Deadfellas, Betty and Psych have been around since they're super OGs in NFTs, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff. So that's what I would be looking at if you want to buy something, hold it for a few months, and then either be a long-term holder and bet on the team, or trade in and out of it and sell on pumps and news announcements and token drops and stuff like that. Because
you heard it here, guys. Buy as many chimpers and sappy seals as you can, and Zeneca's gonna bull tweet them. I'm just kidding.
Well, I need to load my bags first. I have some seals and a couple chimpers, but not as much as I'd like either, I think.
You wrote a good piece the other day as well about your portfolio being a reflection of your attention. And I like what you're saying about, obviously, if you're looking for more like quick plays, the NFTs are probably not what you should get into. And that's also how I see it. How do you manage your information diet? Because I think that's something I try to refine all the time. And I feel like I'm still far from perfect of kind of learning like, okay, AI is going to move again. We're going to have a meme season. Moonbirds, you were saying, were like a clear kind of trend that it was clear they were going to start to move. How do you manage that? How do you do that?
I think it's with great difficulty, time and experience. Like there's no easy shortcut. You just have to spend a lot of time in the space on crypto Twitter, reading, just spend a lot of time on Twitter. Like it sucks because Twitter can be a bit of a cesspool, and it's getting worse with the AI slop and all that kind of stuff. But you will find people who post good content and who more often than not get it right about, like they act as good signal indicators of what the upcoming meta is going to be because this person's talking about it. Get enough of those people and you start paying attention to it, and you kind of almost see trends coming in. It's almost like in a physical way. It's like this little wave that's building and building and building. And then you're like, this is about like football.fun is we were talking, I think off air, maybe it was on air, I can't remember, but about that and how it, one by one, people are starting to talk about it. And then all of a sudden, one weekend it just blew up, and, you follow enough of those people and you can start to see that stuff coming. So there's no shortcut, unfortunately. Like I've given people lists of people, like one of my newsletters, I just posted, I think 40 people. And I've been on the other side of that where I was looking for people to follow and you go follow them. But unless you sort of organically find them and start reading their posts and resonating with it and engage, it doesn't quite give you that confidence in believing what they say. So spend a lot of time, be ruthless with your Twitter timeline and feed, and like mute people, block people, just get rid of all the junk and the engagement farming trolls and all that kind of stuff. And it just takes time.
I think it's funny too how some people, and I would even argue that you are like this. You're a victim of success, where it's like, especially in the NFT days, it's like, man, for a while, it's like every post is like, man, that's gold. Like you are nailing what these next things are, and then the accuracy creates a huge following. And then the posts end up having too much power. You know what I mean? It's like that
definitely happened in 21. Well, I stopped wanting to post,
yeah,
because it will move floor prices of NFT collections and stuff like
which
that.
Is fantastic for you. Like, what a compliment! But at the same time, it's like that's what happens. And I was someone like ISO Beast. Like I was chatting with him before Blast took off. Like when he was very small. And for like a year, it's like, man, that guy was so sharp, and he still is. But now it's like, now he knows that he can't just tell people if he's buying like a small random meme coin. Like he can't do that. And so it's funny, you have to kind of find these people early.
Yeah.
And if they become so big that they have that power, then you found the right person, and hopefully you got a lot out of it while you could.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, a lot of the time, people just get exhausted and tired and burned out, or they just get less hungry. And so, I see
as they make money too, as they make money
and they make money. Things.
Yeah.
ICO will be a great example to follow, because he's very much had an explosive arc over the last year, because he's consistently showing up every single day. It reminds me of my 2021 with NFTs, because every day I was spending hours writing threads and just creating tons of content, replying to everyone. And I had explosive growth then. He's had explosive growth now, and well-deserved. I would be curious to see if he's still doing the same volume in 3 years from now. It'll be really good.
Who's
ICO.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, are you about to give me a new name? I was like, yes. I was like,
unfortunately,
just say it off air. Don't tell everybody else. Just tell me.
But yeah, he is the prime example of someone that if you can find early, you'll get tons of gems, tons of alpha. He still posts a lot of good stuff now, but now it's a little more of a signal boost about, when he posts about it and a bunch of other people post about it, all right, that's something to pay attention to, but it's not like he's not going to drop tickers and that stuff.
No.
And
yeah.
As much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you don't want that anyway. Like if you're just following people and then buying the things that they post the ticker of, it's like, I call that borrowing conviction. You borrow conviction from others, and great, they might tell you when to get in, but they don't tell you when to get out, and they don't tell you what size to get in with. And yeah, it's just a very bad
that's another, like, I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges in the space is managing that borrowed conviction, because you can't deny that people that have been right and then you see them post about something, you can't deny that it has an effect on.
Oh no, it does. And I think you should listen to people that have been right. Yeah. Just don't make it your entire thesis. Be like, all right, this person is pretty sharp. They post about this token. All right, I'll use that as the starting off point. I'll do a little bit of research myself, see if other people I follow are also interested in it. Do I like it? Does it fit my general thesis? And then you can use it as part of building your own sort of view on the token. But if you just buy a ticket, like it's very dangerous to get too followy.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to put it, or a good way to visualize it. Yeah, I think I find that other people's thesis kind of like sneak into my head, and then I'm like, well, how do I actually feel? And there's sometimes too, as somebody that I'm like, man, this person's so sharp. They're very good at nailing things, and then they'll talk about something that I'm like, I just don't see that going. And then if it does, then you question yourself so much if you faded it, just because you couldn't buy into it, right? So that's a very challenging part of the space. Okay, dude, let's talk about. I don't want to keep you long. You've had some good shit posts lately about what's going to be happening to the cycle. I love this one. Yeah. Or not this one. Hold on. Where's the one the other day? Based on undisputable hard science, ETH is going to be around 5,500 at the end of the year, and then 9,736 at the end of Q1 next year. Timing the market has never been easier. And you're commenting on this chart that everybody's been throwing around about, like, hey, September is always a bread month, blah, blah, blah. Tell me more about your current thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been on Twitter for the last week, you've probably seen some version of this chart 50 times. Everyone posted and be like, September's going to be a red month. September's going to be a red month because it's been historically a red month. And sure, out of the last, I don't know, 7 or 9 years, there's been, like, you've probably got it here, 4 green and however many red. And the average is fairly negative for, I think this is Bitcoin, but also ETH. Yeah, sure. But like the sample size is ridiculously small. These assets were completely different beasts back then. That was before you had ETFs, before digital asset treasury companies. You had an entirely, like, just, different presidents were there. Trump was there for, different parts back then, but then it was Biden. It's just, I don't know. People put so much stock into stuff like this because people love to just feel like they know and can predict the future, but it's so uncertain and random that, like another example is, like, what last year everyone was saying, sell in May and walk away, like sell for the summer, come back, and that would have worked great last year. If you did that this year, you'd be crying. You would have missed out on, especially for ETH, tons of gains and alts.
Even Bitcoin, 10 to 11%. Actually, both last Mays, 11% gains for Bitcoin. But you know what these charts also don't account for, Zen, is the actual price divergence during that time. Because it's even like today, it's like, okay, September 1st, Bitcoin opens at whatever, 109 or whatever it was yesterday. Yeah. And then it could run to 130. And then on September 31st, dip to 108 for like 2 days and before it goes again. Yeah. So that doesn't necessarily, like, use it. These are such, I know that there's like month end balance sheets that play into this of people selling and buying, but
way too much stock into this stuff. So
it's still kind of arbitrary to look at it in these 30-day boxes, right?
Yes. It's a bit more when you start looking at, like, several months strung together, several quarters, and there's certainly like a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy element. But just like, when you look at a crypto Twitter person post about a project or ticker or whatever, use it as like one tiny bit of information and like make up your overall view of, like, all right, great, September, October, November, last couple of years have been great, especially October, November. So there's a decent, maybe some chance of a bright future based on that. But then these other reasons, maybe us telling me that it's going to be a bad period because of geopolitics, and then, but we've got rate cuts. So and then you just balance out all these bits of information and you come up with an educated guess instead of looking at one bit of data and being like, yeah, we're definitely going down or up.
Dude, is Bitcoin due for a red October here? Look at this. Look at this six green streak, man. What's up with that? Only once in the last 10 years it's been red in October.
It's actually wild, yeah.
You're gonna
start seeing
I gotta make
at the end of the month be like, it's guaranteed to be green because it's just always green now.
Is that what's happening with cycles though? Is it like, well, we're guaranteed to have cycles and now there won't be cycles, or everybody has to follow the cycle? Like, I don't even, I feel like
I'm still in the camp that the 4-year cycle, it will break down, but I think we're still at the point where I can be proven wrong. Like, if we top in November or something and then crash for a couple more years, sure, maybe that's a 4-year cycle again. But I think it'll be different this time around. How? I don't know. I don't buy into the 4-year cycle forever theory.
What? Okay, no. Give me next 12 months Bitcoin price.
Again, no real idea. If I had to guess and take a bet, I would say we'll do well up until mid next year at least. Yeah, I've been saying for a while now that I think we'll get a big crash sometime in the next few years, but I don't necessarily think it's
next 12 months, specifically 12 months from now.
All right, let's say
until August 31st,
September next year. Yeah.
We will. General, what does Bitcoin do?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin hits an all-time high in Q2 next year, and then drops, but doesn't drop that much by this time next year. So I don't know. Just throw some numbers out there, and I have no idea. Let's say it gets to 170, 160, 170, and then by this time next year, it's back to 135 or something like that.
All right. Got it. Okay.
If that plays out, I'm going to be taking this clip and just blasting it all over everything for the rest of history and never making another prediction again.
We're making an article just like all those headlines you see that's like JP Morgan CEO predicts 400K Bitcoin by EOY. Yeah. This is going to be Milk Road tomorrow. Zeneca predicts a 170K Bitcoin by summer.
Which is not even that big of a jump from here. It's,
no, well,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It'd still be almost 50%. So yeah, that'd still be pretty significant or more. But yeah, that'd be pretty significant. You know what I need to do with these? I need a chart, just a trading view chart where I ask every guest the same question, and then I put them, and then we make a prediction market out of it, and people can pick those. Oh, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Really quick, we're at the end of the show, but prediction markets, yay or nay? Are you playing? Are you buying? What are you doing?
I'm bullish on them. I've been bullish for a while. I think they're great. I think they add value to the world in multiple ways, both as betting markets and then news websites, basically. I think that, I think they're only going to continue to get bigger in adoption. You started to see, for the longest time, it was just Polymarket and it was largely politics. But then now there's a lot more sports betting volume. Kalshi, I saw a tweet the other day that they got $160 million in volume bet on one. I think it was even a college football game.
It's a college football game, yeah.
And a lot of that came in live betting. And I think it's interesting. I think it'll be curious to see what happens regulatory wise, because obviously sports betting is heavily regulated, but the prediction markets sit in this kind of gray area in a lot of places still. But yeah, I'm bullish on them. I think they'll do well. I think they're here to stay and are generally a net positive or at least net neutral to net positive for the space in the world.
I'm happy that there's prediction markets. I've always loved the most random prop bets, like what, a couple of years ago, the Super Bowl, what color lipstick will Rihanna be wearing at the start of the show?
Yeah.
That kind of shit. I love the dumbest crap like that.
Yeah. How many times will Taylor Swift be on TV? Color of the
That's
Gatorade.
It. Yeah. I think that stuff is so funny. I question, I don't know how much more volume can come in. Sports is always going to be the betting venue, and finding new ways for people to bet on sports is smart. I think inevitably, it's up to the DraftKings and the Bet365s of the world to adapt and to create new market primitives and maybe buy some of these companies as well. I don't know how much more money comes into anything outside of that, because I think it's a little. I think maybe politics are good. That's always fun. Like I enjoyed betting on the Canadian election earlier this year. That was fun for me with the outcome that I thought would happen, or at least the run up to that. I wonder, people fucking suck at betting. You know what I mean? People are so fucking stupid when it comes to bets, and to bet so emotionally. And and you see that in crypto with things that people buy. So I wonder, people have already kind of lost their shirts at sports betting. And I wonder how many more shirts they have to lose betting on, the words that Trump is going to say in his next speech or something like that.
Yeah.
That's my like kind of thought. That I was like, I just don't know how much more money there is for this stuff, right? Because even Kalshi, it's like, well, yeah, college football, of course, great, but that's there's already money being spent on that. People are already betting on that.
Yeah.
So what other things?
Yeah, new markets. I think we'll always have lower volume and very low volume, like all the exotic stuff. But who knows? Maybe we get surprised. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe it creates new markets. Maybe via this, there's new things to bet on that people didn't know they wanted to bet on. And maybe next cycles, and that's what we're doing, is we're not buying AI tokens, we're not buying meme coins. We're literally deep in the poly market trenches betting on who knows what. I don't know. Some random
literally
thing.
Anything.
That's it. We couldn't really predict NFTs, so they kind of came along pretty quick.
Who knows what
cool, man. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and always a pleasure to chat with you. Yeah. Thank you for all the thoughts. And okay, last one, 30-second answer. If you're someone, and we kind of briefly chatted on this, you've got 10K, you've got your major holdings, you're starting in the degen market now. What are you doing with it in the next 4 months?
I would find one ecosystem and just go deep into that. So like maybe abstract, and go explore the meme coins, explore the apps, and ideally a ecosystem that you can position for an airdrop and make money while you're doing a bit of trading and stuff like that. So it could be abstract, could be like poly market or prediction markets, and you could get good at that because there's good arbitrage opportunities. You could potentially get an airdrop there, and just pick an ecosystem and go deep. It's better than trying to spread yourself too thin.
I love that.
Yeah,
that is sage advice. Don't spread it out too thin, like I do. Okay, great. Zen, thank you so much, man. Thanks for coming on the show, and we'll see you guys next time on the Milk Road Degen podcast. Want updates from the trenches alongside the tokens we're trading? Sub to our channel, then join the Milk Road Degen and Degen Pro newsletters. This show's for educational purposes only. Nothing we say is financial advice. Investing is risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.